Mommy.
Who gives this woman to be married to this man? Give her a clap. Don't just dump her in around here.
Another 50 quid, guys.
When love awakens in your life, in the night of your heart, it's like dawn breaking within you. Where before there was anonymity, now there is intimacy. Where before there was fear, now there is courage. Where before in your life there was awkwardness, now there is a rhythm of grace and gracefulness. Where before you used to be jagged, now you are elegant and in rhythm with yourself. When love awakens in your life, it is like a rebirth, a new beginning. And it's because of this formidable force called love that we're here today to celebrate the marriage of George and Isla. Today's a day of incredible joy and happiness, and it's also a mixture of both personal feelings and public statements made by Isla and George in the presence of their family and friends. We're all here to witness the promises that they'll make to each other and to offer our own love, support and encouragement to them both throughout their marriage. We'll celebrate their marriage with words and music, and later you'll enjoy the very best of Scottish hospitality. But this part of the day is also serious because the marriage ceremony is protected by the authority of the law, and the vows Isla and George will make to each other are solemn and binding. You can't even run now because there's cameras. Whilst marriage is a personal thing, it certainly doesn't exist in isolation, but it flourishes when it's encouraged by the family and friends who mean so much to this wonderful couple. It's therefore a real delight when those they love can participate in the ceremony. And so I'd like to invite Isla's mum, Margaret, to come forward and share a reading with us now.
You are wonderful. Love is not just looking at each other and saying, you are wonderful. There are times when we are not anything but wonderful. Love is looking out in the same direction. It is linking your strengths to pull a common load. It is pushing together towards the far horizons, hand in hand. Love is knowing that when our strengths falter, we can borrow the strength of someone who cares. Love is a strange awareness that our sorrows will be shared, that joys will be enriched and multiplied by the joy of another. Love is knowing that someone else cares, that you and they are not alone in life. Okay.
Thank you. You know the one about the couple that go into a bar and their eyes meet across a crowded room? It's a really busy place, but somehow out of all the people in there, they connect, and all of a sudden, love is in the air. Except it didn't quite happen like that with George and Isla. True, they were both in a bar. George was with friends and Isla was with her niece, Kaylee. True, they spotted each other. But whilst George was absolutely blown away by this beautiful woman who'd just walked in, Isla was more concerned at this guy watching her all the time, and eventually asked Kaylee, "Who is that weirdo?" Luckily, Kaylee knew George and explained to Isla, actually, he was a lovely guy and not at all weird. In the coming months, they saw each other at the dancing a few times, and after they had a few chats on Messenger, he eventually asked her on a date. That was on the 16th of April 2012, and they can be that specific because they could still have the cinema tickets as a memento of that evening. They got on fantastically well, and it wasn't long before they realised that they had a real thing going, and they moved in together. They discovered a shared love of the outdoors, and they walked the 100 miles of the West Highland Way together, a challenging point for any couple, both physically as well as metaphorically. And whilst it could well have been a make or break moment for them, they definitely made it. As George says, they didn't kill each other on what was a pretty gruelling journey. And Isla says that after doing the walk and managing to smile and laugh the whole way through it, they were still ready for more when they reached the end. The hug they gave each other as they realised their accomplishment was the confirmation that they both needed, that they were great for each other and that they would have many more adventures together. They've since gone on more hill walking, bagging a few Monroes along the way, enjoyed touring the NC 500, and they've made many, many wonderful memories over the years, both at home and overseas. They have plenty of separate interests to keep them amused and to talk about. George loves DIY and anything to do with cars. Isla loves cooking and is a master chef extraordinaire. That's maybe why the door's there to the kitchen. It's a far cry from the night that they cooked super noodles on a camping stove in their hotel bathroom. Isla is also training to be a hairdresser, and during lockdown, well, she had a completely captive audience in George to practice on. And of course, along the way came their two little minicles, Ethan and Harry. Yes, you guys. Both boys keep their parents well amused, and their family time is just so special. George and Isla talk about each other as amazing parents. Isla describes George as a wonderful father who dotes on their boys and works around the clock to ensure that they're all well looked after and cared for, although he is a little soft with them at times. But that's okay, because George says she keeps them all in line. They have created a beautiful family unit, and Isla is especially excited that in just a very short while she's going to have the same surname as her boys. Equally special though are the date nights when they get a chance just to be with each other and talk through their plans and the journey they're making through life together. George, no matter what is thrown your way or however challenging, Isla knows that you will never allow it to get in the way of how you feel about each other. You have always been so amazingly supportive of Isla. You make her laugh, and she says you're the most patient, hard-working and adaptable man who will always help others out. When you're away from her, she misses you so much and knows that you always see the best in her even when she doesn't. You make Isla feel loved, safe, important and worthy, and you give her the freedom to be who she truly is. You are, in fact, her Mr. Perfect, and she could never envision her life without you by her side. Isla. George describes you as his best friend and his soulmate.
Okay.
And says you have, it's usually the groom I give one to for. He describes you as his best friend and his soulmate and says you have the best qualities all rolled up into one. In fact, he almost ran out of adjectives when describing you. You're caring, loving, compassionate to a fault. You're straight talking, generous, funny, bubbly, true to yourself, and just beautiful inside and out. You are one of a kind, and he loves you with all his heart and soul and would do anything for you. You see the very best in George, and you're always there to get him through the highs and lows of life. You make him laugh and smile, and he is the happiest person in the world. He knows he has become a better man because of you. You complete him. and he can't wait to see what life brings for you both and your wonderful family. What George and Isla have done, in fact, is to bring the best of themselves to their relationship, and together they have created something wonderful and become the loving couple that they are today, who complement each other in every way. And whatever the future holds for them both, one thing's for sure, it will manifest through the obvious love and respect that they have for each other that we're celebrating today. So as we move on to that part of the ceremony where you will make your vows to each other, there are a few words of wisdom for you both, originally written by Mark Twain. I cannot promise you a life of sunshine. I cannot promise riches, wealth or gold. I cannot promise you an easy pathway that leads away from change or growing old. But I can promise all my heart's devotion, a smile to chase away your tears of sorrow, a love that's ever true and ever growing, a hand to hold in yours through each tomorrow. Isla and George are incorporating an ancient Scottish hand fasting ceremony today. In Scotland, marriages used to be legalised through the act of a simple hand fasting ceremony in which the two partners joined hands in an infinity circle and made their declarations to each other in the presence of two witnesses, whilst their hands were bound with cloth or ribbon. Isla and George have specifically chosen their family tartans to bind them together today, and these will be secured with a Scottish thistle. The tartans will be placed over their joined hands, symbolising the binding together not only of the two people who wish to commit to each other, but also binding them to the vows that you're about to make. Who's going to hold your flowers? Would you please take each other's hands, right hand to right hand and left to left, so that your hands are clasped. George, meet Isla.
Some clocks going.
In a few moments, you'll say the words that will take you across a threshold of life, and things will never be quite the same between you, for after you make these vows, you shall say to the world, "This is my husband, this is my wife." So now at this stage of the ceremony, I ask, are you both ready to make the declarations that will join you as husband and wife?
I do.
Today, with your family and friends as your witnesses, do you, George Cameron, take Isla Kirsty Iona McGowan in marriage as your wife, to live together, to honour and comfort her, and forsaking all others, be faithful to her so long as you both shall live?
I do.
Today, with your family and friends as your witnesses, do you, Isla Kirsty Iona McGowan, take George Cameron in marriage as your husband, to live together, to honour and comfort him, and forsaking all others, be faithful to him, so long as you both shall live?
I do.
George, would you please make your vows to Isla? Just lift your thumb.
Isla, I am proud to take you as my wife, and today we begin our lives together. I will continually challenge myself to become the best husband I can be, always looking to put you before myself and making your dreams our dreams. I will love you, I will adore you, I will cherish you, I will be faithful to you, I respect you, admire and appreciate you for who you are, as well as for the person you will become. I trust in you, all the things, never doubting you. I will help you discover your full potential, pushing you to become the best person you can become, to support and ensure the hopes and dreams come true. I will stand by your side in all things, the highs and the lows, always finding agreement in everything that we do as husband and wife, till we are old and grey.
I choose you to be my husband, George, my partner in life. I promise you my unconditional love, my fullest devotion, my most tender care, through the pressures of the present and the uncertainties of the future. I promise to love you, honour, respect and cherish you all the days of our lives. You are everything I need, and at this moment I feel that all of my prayers have been answered. I know that our love is heaven sent, and I promise to be here forever and always. I pledge to respect your unique talents and abilities, to lend you strength to reach your dreams. I promise to take care of you, to encourage and inspire you, asking that you be no other than yourself. From this day forward, you shall not walk alone. My heart will be your shelter, and my arms will be your home.
Try not to drag you along with me. With these ribbons, you are bound to the vows you have made to each other today. The ties of your love are not formed by this binding, but by your promises to each other. Even as you take your hands from the ribbons, the ties between you remain, and you hold in your own hands and hearts the making or breaking of your love. Take your hands away from each other. Thank you. Would Ethan and Harry like to come forward with the wedding rings, please? Come on.
Let's get that out.
Careful, boys. Alright, no, he's going to stand. He moves on nicely. He's going to, you're going to stand there and hold.
Stand there.
Are you okay
Stand
with
and
that?
hold.
Your mum's
Right.
You hold that
You
like
hold it
that.
up. You hold it up.
Right, keep it open. That's
Keep
it.
it
Keep it
open.
open.
That's it.
Thank you. That's it.
People often talk about wedding rings as a circle with no beginning and no end, but these rings did have a beginning. Rock dug from the earth, metal liquefied in a furnace and then moulded, cooled and polished. Something beautiful made from the raw elements. Marriage is like that, formed from the raw ingredients of love, moulded and shaped with work, understanding, passion and time. As you both now exchange these rings, may they be a visible reminder of the love which has brought you together and the promises you have made today. George, if you hold that up for Daddy, yeah, please take the ring
You hold the box.
and place the ring on Isla's finger.
Spit your hands up.
And now please repeat these words after me. Isla, I give you this ring as a symbol of our marriage
Isla, I give this ring as a symbol of our marriage
and as a sign of my commitment and love,
and a sign of my commitment and love
today and for as long as we both shall live.
for today and as long as we shall live.
Would you give the other ring to Mummy, please?
To Mummy.
Thank you, Ethan. Please, George's. And please repeat these words.
Okay.
George, I give you this ring as a symbol of our marriage
George, I give you this ring as a symbol of our marriage
and as a sign of my commitment and love,
and as a sign of my commitment and love
today and for as long as we both shall live.
today and as for both shall live.
Today and for as long as we both shall live.
Long.
Today and as long as we both shall live.
Boys, thank you. Do you want to sit back down?
Go sit back down. Go sit back down now.
Isla and George, you have made your vows to each other. You have bound your promises with ribbon, and you have symbolised your commitment by the giving and receiving of rings. You have made those promises today in the presence of your witnesses, and by the authority vested in me by the Registrar General of Scotland, I am absolutely delighted to pronounce that you are now husband and wife. I'd like to invite Andrew and Kaylee to come forward as witnesses as I and George sign the marriage. This special day will be a particularly memorable one for you, and yet, as with many important moments in our lives, the time just seems to fly. It's a day filled with emotion and rings and photographs and celebration, and after all the preparations and travelling to get here, it would be a shame to only remember how fleeting the day was. So please take a few moments now, take each other's hands, look into each other's eyes, and think about the happiness that you're feeling in this moment, in this place. Let that feeling register in your hearts and in your minds. Think about the many special times you shared together and about your lives together in the years to come. All the places you'll go and all the things you'll accomplish. And as you hold the comfort of each other's hands, remember that these are the hands of your best friend, strong and full of love for each other. They're the hands that will work alongside yours to build your future together. They're the hands that will hold you tight as you struggle through life's more difficult times and give you strength when you need it. And these are the hands that, as you grow old together, will still be reaching for yours, giving you the same unspoken tenderness with just a touch. I wish you both all the love and happiness in the world. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd invite you to stand and be ready to applaud your newly married couple. It's my absolute pleasure and privilege to introduce Mr. and Mrs. Cameron.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's tradition at Culloden House for the bride and groom to give the piper a drink.
Hey!
I'm delighted to say they have done in return. I'd like to say Slange Gora Karsten, Agus Bi Yaichiva, Noiskachev. If you're no sure of the Gaelic, this means may all your children be as cute as the piper. It really means a special good health to you, my friends. Enjoy yourselves tonight.
Ons Can
I just say something? I'm not to understand. Sorry, sir.
Alles speak Gaelic. Hey.
Well, he's done brilliant, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, a very warm welcome to Culloden House. We're absolutely delighted to be welcoming the newly married Mr. and Mrs. Cameron. The bride and groom, probably the groom, have requested that we have speeches before the meal, so without further ado, can I introduce you to George?
You'll get it shortly. You'll get it soon.
Well, I'd like to thank you all on behalf of my wife and I for the week we've had in Inverness so far, and this wonderful day. It's been a lot of planning to get here, as you all know. So I'm just like to thank you all for participating and taking all your parts in getting here on the day.
George is one of the gladiators. I'm
So that's it. I'd like to thank my wife and I and Margaret and Roy. I'd like to thank you for having a wonderful daughter.
They're just happy to get us here. I love you.
And that's me. Short and sweet.
Okay, so now is the entertaining part, where we introduce Andy, the best man.
You'll be another. Listen. Mine's been laughing. It's no.
Serious here, guys.
It's serious. Humour will come. No, listen, I'm going to keep it short and sweet, so I'll keep it off an hour. Right. I got to know George, a few years ago through Isla, and immediately struck a bond with him. George is one of the most hard-working guys, right? Does everything for his family. The two kids came along, they're his world, right? They honestly are. He's action man, he's G.I. George, right? He does everything, honestly, last year, I can't mind the day, when I know where I was in the M74, no meant to be out with Glasgow in lockdown, admit it, and broke the restrictions, and George phones me and he says, Andy, there's something I want to ask you. And I thought to Vicky, right, he's going to ask me to be his best man. I feel there's a wedding coming on, or it's a lift his work. And I kid you not, about 20 minutes later he phoned me and he says, look, would you want to be my best man? See, there's nothing better than to be asked that. It's just such a compliment, right? And the guys, there's no a bad bone in his body, honestly. We've went out walking the last couple of years and he's just such a nice guy. He just does everything for the boys, Isla. He worships the ground. This isn't some script. I've been a best man 5 times. Clap. I don't we are scripted, so but honestly, he's a lovely guy, and he really does everything for Isla and the boys. Roy and Margaret have made it such a special day. It's all the family, it's for myself because I've known these a long time, got to know the twins, still don't know who's who, and Kenny's daughter, but I feel really privileged to be in this crowd today. He's the next one I want into the family because I met this guy last night, he's such a right? So hopefully the next wedding, but listen, I'm not going to ramble on, but look, I'm really privileged to be asked to be his best man. I sincerely am. We've had private chats, we've spoken about work, you know, kids, women, cars, holidays, life, over 32 of my nose, just getting it there, right? Getting through it. In 1 year, a lockdown, and honestly, he's one of my best, closest friends. So thank you for asking me to be your best man. I hope I've done you proud. Your stag do will always be remembered. I've got the pictures, I will send you one, your dress. But sincerely, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I feel really privileged and I'm not going to cry, but thank you.
There you go.
There we go, yay!
Right. We'll keep that there. Again?
Knife time out.
Slowly.